You're listening to BQN. Assimilate the audio.
Captain, I'm picking up some odd energy fluctuations.
On our way.
We're in a wormhole.
No, it can't be.
Are you stuck in a time loop?
What?
Time bugs. They're designed to paralyze an enemy ship by randomly cycling them through time.
This has to be Ball and Lock. We came prepared. We saw our possible future. We can't let it happen. We cannot fail.
Hello, everyone. We're here. We're live. Apologies to everyone in the live audience today. We did have a few little technical hiccups getting online there, but we're here now. Hi, it's me, Davey. I am your host for Let's Fly, the BQN's exclusive limited run series, where each week we are recapping the most recent episode of Star Trek Discovery's final season. Every week you can join me here with a panel of BQN hosts and Patreon subscribers. We're here on YouTube, we're live on Facebook, we're also live on the Trexperts Quiz Twitch channel, and you can also catch the replay if you're not live, and also we do publish this as an audio podcast. It's everywhere. It's everywhere. But wait, there is definitely more, because we want you to be a part of the show. If you are joining the live audience, please interact with us in the chat. We want to hear your thoughts on the episode as well. We will share them and repeat what you're saying here live on the air. But also, if you become a BQN network patron over at patreon.com/BQN for as little as $1 a month, you can join us here on the show. You can actually be on the show. Not a call out on the show, but you actually get to be on the show. So if you want to be a part of the panel in future episodes, head over to patreon.com/BQN and join in the fun. So we have got a great panel here today. It is, in fact, probably the biggest panel I think we've had. So I am going to bring them all in now. Hello there, everyone. How are we? We've got Amy, we've got Jim, we've got JJ, we've got First Timer Haven, we've got Peter, we've got Mahendran. Whew, all right. Oh, gee, got all that out. I mean, after all the technical difficulties going live and then having to read.
Oh my goodness.
Those damn time bugs. No
Damn time bugs.
Who brought them onto the Discovery? That's all I want to know.
Exactly. Now, this was a huge episode of Star Trek Discovery, so face the strange. Wow. So there's a lot to unpack today, panel. So, but before we do that, let's dive into what we always do at the beginning of an episode and ask everyone, how did you do your first watch? And have you only had one watch? Me, it was literally Thursday night. My partner was busy doing some schoolwork and needed quiet, so I had my headphones on in front of my big screen TV and just watching it quietly with my dog, Captain Pike, resting on my lap. Amy, how did you do your first watch this week?
Oh, this has just been really busy. I've only seen it once, which I'm not happy about because this is now Friday. I usually get to see it at least 2 times. And it was like in between 2 appointments. So it's like, okay, I had an hour and I'm like, okay, we got to go right now. So I felt a little rushed, and that I feel has really tainted how I feel about this episode because I didn't care for it.
Ooh, all right, controversial. Jim, how about you? How about you?
Well, unlike Amy, I actually really did like this episode.
So did I.
And I have only seen it once. I watched it yesterday, like literally inside of an hour, like just right up until right before Strange New Pod went live, just so I would be able to be current while watching that live stream.
Yeah, so it's going to be interesting. I wonder if we're going to have a mixture of likes and dislikes. JJ, how was your first viewing?
I liked it, actually. I was able to relax and watch it in my theater room downstairs, and I enjoyed it. It was good. It was a good episode, and it made me like Rainer a little bit more. So
I want some photos of this theater room next time you're on, by the way. I think we're going to have to do a little bit of a tour.
Oh my gosh, you need to look at the ceiling. That's all I'm going to say.
Interesting. Haven, what about you? You were watching right up until we went live, but I think that was your second watch. How was your first watch?
My first watch, I watched it on my iPad, and that was at 3:10 in the morning is when I watched it.
Mm-hmm.
So it was right after it aired, and it was enjoyable. Like, I absolutely loved it. Chatted with a couple of people in the BQN Discord. They absolutely loved it as well. I don't remember who it was I was talking to. I could look, but I'm interacting here, so I'm not going to look. But then I just watched it again right as we were about to go live. So
Okay.
it finished maybe 10 minutes before the time bugs interfered with the stream.
Yes. And Peter, what about you? Have time bugs allowed you to do multiple viewings this time?
No, not. I watched it just the once, so the time bugs got me as well. Watched it yesterday evening, sort of between things, and I enjoyed it. It's probably one of my favorite Discovery episodes so far. So I enjoyed it. One thing that is a little bit unusual for me is I actually watched it on my iPad as opposed to my bigger TV. So I think it was just mainly on convenience. So I ended up using it as iPad. But luckily, I guess this was one of those episodes which, it didn't have like a huge action scene, which the widescreen TV would be better for. So I guess I got lucky. But it all worked out. And then it was a good episode.
I've always got to absorb myself because we've got a really beautiful TV in our living room, a big 85-inch like OLED, and it's like I need to have that experience in my eyeballs, which is why I'm not looking forward when I have to go to the UK in a few weeks when I'm probably going to have to watch it in a hotel room. But you get that. And finally, Mahendran, what about you? Did you watch on a plane again, or did you actually get to watch it in comfort this time?
No, I watched it in a hotel room. I did what you were gonna do, so I watched it on this computer. But yeah, and I watched it once. So yeah, I'm ambivalent about it. So I don't know how I feel about it.
Well, I mean that leads into our initial reactions. So, Mahendran, you're sort of saying you're sitting on the fence. Why is that?
I think I really liked the last episode last week, and I felt like there's a lot more to talk about. Whereas I felt like this is like not like a clip show, but a little better than a clip show, and there were like things that, but I think there were things that like happened that were really interesting. That I liked. Like there were 3 big things that happened that I liked a lot. So it wasn't like, that's why it's like a clip show, but not a clip show. That's why.
I can see where that comes from for sure. JJ, I'll throw to you for your initial reactions. How are you feeling coming out of this?
So I didn't know what to expect this week. But just like Mahendran, he was like, "Oh, this is kind of a clip show," but the way they did it, I thought it was well done. It was, like visiting the past, and it was, a little stroll down memory lane, and it was done in a pleasant way. But I enjoyed it. I loved the Rainer's characters evolving a little bit more, growing a little bit more. Yeah, it was good. I enjoyed it.
It was a way to kind of get a bit of a connection between Raina and Michael, I think, by having them go on a little wibbly wobbly timey-wimey adventure together. Oh dear. And Haven, how about you? How are you feeling? Because you've just finished watching it.
Yeah, I just finished watching it for the second time. But I absolutely I fell in love with this episode right at 3:00 in the morning. Like, it was amazing. Like, I actually wrote a whole little 5-paragraph thing that I wrote up, which actually is in the Discord. You can actually read it on the Discord, or watch it actually, because I also recorded it. And it was done. Like, I wrote that minutes after watching it. I absolutely fell in love with it immediately. I do have a couple questions, but those are questions I've always had about Star Trek. Is how is it that they can remember? I don't know if we can go into this is the first time here, but how is it that Michael was able to remember a specific Stardate and go, oh, this is the battle that happened here? How could you remember that exact day? You asked me what I was doing 6 months ago. I could not tell you if you asked me a specific day.
It's a very. I've thought about that myself. I'm like, how would Stardates stick in your head? They seem to make no sense.
Yeah, that's the magic of TV.
Suspend disbelief, Haven. Suspend disbelief. Jim, how about you? What's your initial reactions been to this episode?
Well, I do admit, although I did like the episode at first, when I got into it and it became pretty obvious pretty quick it was going to be a time travel episode, I was like, oh, not again. They've used this trope so many times over the decades. But then I very quickly got to love it. Got to love it when it became pretty obvious that they gave us kind of a Calypso tie-in, although not really. And B, I mean, come on, who doesn't love seeing season one callback? I mean, I don't know about the rest of you, but when I saw Ariam played by I don't think she was the original actress, but I think she was the one who played the role when the character was killed. I was like, yes! I was so glad to see the character again.
Yeah, I was.
Now I'm curious.
Yeah,
I'm curious to see which one it was.
I was glad.
It was the second one.
Yeah. I was glad to see Ariam again as well, but I have some thoughts about the Ariam scene, which I'm going to hold on to later to give. Amy, I'm coming to you last quite deliberately. Peter, what have been your initial reactions?
I liked it. I actually have a soft spot for time travel episodes in Star Trek, so a lot of them are kind of some of my favorite ones over the years. So when it became obvious that this was one of those, I kind of gravitated towards it and kept interest in it. I think like Jim said, I think the season 1 callbacks and just all the different connections in the past, I like that. So I think it was well done. And they with Calypso and also season 1 Stamets, in which season 5 Stamets commented on season 1 Stamets. All these little connections were great. So that's why I think overall I enjoyed it. And also, as mentioned before, with Rainer's character, there's something new in which he kind of grows into his role and be more comfortable. And I think the crew more comfortable with him. It actually reminded me of Voyager's Shattered, which was also a similar season 7. It was a I don't one thing we could maybe talk about it later if it comes up about. I don't know if someone in the Discovery team kind of might have an inkling in which what would be happening to the show, because in a way this episode is a good sort of a last season because it actually almost like a recap and connects with it, which is what was Voyager. So I enjoyed it. I think it was good. It is definitely one that I would definitely need to rewatch because there were so many things which I'm sure I missed because things just kind of happened so quickly and kind of jump from scene to scene, and just taking it all in for the first watch was kind of required a lot. But I think watching it again will will catch some of the ones that has been missed.
Yeah, there was almost an all good things kind of vibe in a
Yeah.
way,
Mhm.
except with more digital de-aging than just using costumes and makeup to make people look younger.
Yeah.
Amy Nelson. Now, let's hear some thoughts. Let's hear some thoughts. This is why we're here, right? So, what's been the reaction and why is it so negative?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Standing. You know, I didn't feel like I got a good enough explanation on what the heck was going on with the time jumps. So I was thinking about the science of how is this working? And then they were jumping back and forwards and back. And I was like, I couldn't find a pattern of the time jumps. And so that was messing with my head. And I felt so discombobulated. I knew why Stamets, but there were other people that have interacted with the mycelial network, right? Colbert was somewhere out there. He could have remembered. We didn't see him. Tilly went into that cocoon that childhood memory created. So she had some interaction. So I'm just like, this isn't making sense. Why don't these people remember? So I just had all these questions and then it kept jumping around and I'm like, what the heck is going on? And then yes, we knew we had to get a Rainer. He's on board. And that was just so predictable. So I didn't feel like it was a good episode.
That's fair enough. It definitely, some of the explanations happened very fast. Like the Raynar's reference of the Krenim time bug and even specifically mentioning that it's Stamets tardigrade DNA that means he exists outside of normal time. It's not so much the interaction with the mycelial network, but the tardigrade DNA that causes it for him. But it was those moments of exposition, you could blink and miss them.
Yeah. I think I blinked every single time.
No, I mean, when I heard the DNA, it kind of got clicked with me. I'm like, oh, DNA, that makes sense.
Yeah.
It completely, because you got the network changed him. Whereas with the other people, it didn't. It kind of altered who he was. And I think also just it goes back to like, he was kind of like a not so nice person the first season, and they referenced that, which is very funny, I thought. But anyway.
Yes, watching Stamets try and be his old surly self and not fully succeed was one of the funniest parts of the episode.
Yeah, it was a really funny episode. It was very funny.
Haven, I think you've got a thought there that you want to share.
Yeah, I was actually thinking, I noticed something, and this is because I always watch with subtitles on. Anything that was important, I don't know if it was just because I watched on my iPad, but I noticed the subtitles for something that, if it was important to the episode, was in bold. Like the tardigrade DNA was in bold. So it was almost something that they were emphasizing that, like, if you blink and miss it, like Amy said, would be something that is easily missed. So, I can understand Amy's perspective 100%. Because if they have to bold it to emphasize it, well, they sort of made a better point. And that's something, like, I love the episode, but I still completely agree with that.
I wonder if there's other people kind of feeling the same way, because I haven't seen, I sort of purposely avoid looking at other people's online reactions before I do this show so that we can kind of get it all out together. But I wonder if this is an episode that, might kind of benefit from a few watches, because it is, and quite intentionally, I think, it's almost like a directorial choice to create that confusion in the viewer to try and match the confusion of the characters a little bit, possibly.
Ooh, that's a good thought.
But we need some of the Cinema Z crew on here. They always have got answers to those kind of things. But... Go, Amy.
Yeah, I said on the Discord, I'm like, I need to reserve judgment because once was not good enough for me. I know it's me. Like, it's a me problem. I get it. But yeah, I definitely need to see it again. And I'm I do usually watch subtitles on my third watch, but I think I'm going to turn them on the second one.
I always do a subtitle watch as well. Does anyone else do that? Yeah, Peter. You
I was
do.
just going to comment on the science stuff.
Yeah.
I'll go, Mahendran.
No, I was just saying, like, sometimes with the science, especially with time travel, I just like put it in like, this is not going to make sense, and I'm just going to leave it in the not making sense, because then like they talk about breaking the time bubble and relativity. I'm not, you know what? Like, I don't care. Like, because like time travel, I just don't know the science, and I don't know. At least for me, that helps, because sometimes it's just like it was. I agree with you, Amy. That part was confusing. Like that, their scientific explanation behind it's like, I'm like, time travel.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Ta-da!
Exactly. It's like, I don't care.
I love the comment from Ryan in the chat just now. The episode of 10,000 uniform changes. Now, I don't know if we kind of want to wait till we get to this, but let's just call out. I mean, it was very rarely was it mentioned. Actually, no, they did kind of call out, like when they were back in the 23rd century. They were sort of like, "Oh, I don't recognize your uniform, but I know you've got captain's pips on." That was there was some very odd little lines like that. So I think let's sort of step through the plot of this a little bit. Now, I've got some images. So, beginning of the episode, we started with this interesting little scene. It was the only little bit of Mole and Locke we've kind of had probably since. I mean, they featured quite heavily in episode 1, but they've only appeared in little snippets ever since then. So we got a little bit of an interesting kind of thing here. They've got the Latinum. You know, they're here to get some information from this shady-looking character. Amy, what did you kind of take away from this scene?
Yeah, I, again, really wanted to see more, because I think last week I said I wanted to see especially the connection between Maul and Book, and we got absolutely nothing of that. So I want to know, who is that guy in the, like, have we seen that alien race before? And yeah, just a bunch of questions come from this scene.
Yeah. Show of hands. Has anyone bothered to look up what alien race this is? Does anyone know? No, I've seen a few guesses online, but nothing.
What are the guesses? Sorry.
I can't remember. I should have written them.
There was
It's okay.
There was one guess that said it was connected to an early Voyager episode. I just don't remember what it was.
What? Or we know they look like that alien from the DS9 where they were chasing that dude, the Tosk. I am Tosk chaser.
Oh, the Tosk, yes.
Yeah, maybe that's what it is. I don't know, but it's really odd and random.
So
Amy?
Ryan in the chat says, was it a Malon?
That's what I was thinking. That's what I was.
Oh, Malon.
Yeah.
Possibly. I mean, he didn't last for very long because they coated his latinum in some kind of, poisonous tainted thing.
That had to be the most predictable scene in the episode.
Exactly. Peter, do you think, was this too little, Mole and Locke? Are we being drip fed them? Do you think we need more, or do you think we're getting the right amount of Mole and Locke at the moment?
I mean, I would have wanted a little bit more in this episode. I think was pretty much their only scene. So I felt this episode. I mean, I think we'll probably get them more, going forward. So this may be more of an exception rather than a rule. So in a way, this is, because of the time travel, this is a little bit of almost like a side quest, or like sometimes you have an episode in which you kind of almost go sort of, a little bit away from the main plot, and then it kind of circles back. So I kind of got a general sense it ended up being that. So we only had them for this one. So I am more interested in Mole and Locke than I am in almost anything else going on in this season. Like, more than I find these two characters, and I think
there's more of a mystery around them than the actual progenitor mystery itself. And we kind of got, I think, JJ, was this the first time that we got a hint that there is a romantic connection between them? Because they made out, and I don't think that we've actually seen any kind of like love or romance between them before.
So I don't think we have seen like public displays of affection, but I do remember on the Romulan ship when they were stealing the artifact there. I got a vibe that they were a couple there. But yeah, this scene definitely made it very clear that they're in love with each other. And you know what? There was another scene actually in the engineering area when Book was talking to them that also made me feel like they were a very intimate couple who relied on each other and only had each other to fend, the rest of the world again. So yeah, I definitely think there's been some hints, but I don't think there's been anything major until this. And then I actually thought that little scene was played out a little too much in this, but compared to the other ones anyway.
Okay.
But I did pick something up that I feel like they're making us feel for Maul and the situation that she has been going through and growing up with, and she's paying back from the torment that she's gone through. I did pick up quite a bit from this scene.
Yeah, because we've had scenes with like Book staring at images of her, like going, "Oh yeah, this is the closest thing I have to family," and all that. Mahendran, do you think we're going to be made to kind of, are Maul and Locke going to be the bad guys with hearts of gold? Do you think that's the kind of vibe we're going for here? Like, we're going to wind up falling in love. I mean, I'm in love with them already, but like in a more positive way.
Yeah, I don't know. I think this was one of the scenes I wasn't like really too keen on in the whole episode, to be honest. I think, it just reminded me a lot of like the big bad at the end of Picard. They're just trying to make her like really, really nasty, and so it's just, and also I just didn't like, I feel like, yeah, she kissed him, like made out with him, but I think she's just more of like a narcissist or something. I just don't like her character too much, and she's really mean, and this kind of like epitomizes it. She kills this guy, and then she just makes out with it. I don't know. I just don't feel like there's a genuine relationship between the two of them, but that's just me.
Maybe picking up on that thread, I'll throw to Haven. Do you think is there a bit of manipulation going on here? Is this a toxic relationship, do you think?
So I can see a bit of a toxic relationship, but at the same time, I also feel there's a bit of misdirect. Like, it was just mentioned bringing up Picard, and the first thought I thought of was actually Picard's mom. We always thought that Picard's mom was going to be so nice and innocent, especially from the TNG references back when TNG aired. But then we all discovered what happened with what is Picard's mom's name? I don't remember, but
Yvette.
It was
Yvette, yeah.
Yvette, yes, with Yvette. But then at the same time, if you rewatch it very quickly, like I did about 6 months ago, it was actually done. So it was done, like almost portrayed her like the bad guy, and I see that as a misdirect that could be being used here because I see a lot of connections through Discovery and any of the other shows that have aired in the new Trek era.
Interesting. So, Amy, what do you think their ship name should be, and why should it be Mock?
I like that. I hear what you're saying, but I feel like if the roles were reversed, we would be saying Locke is the one that's manipulating. And we're only saying that because Maul has the connection to Burnham. So we're going to see more of her making the decisions. So it's more of like, oh, she's in control. But it's only she's in control because it feeds the story. Right? So I'm optimistic. So no, their love is genuine. So much so that it reminded Book of his relationship with Burnham when they were couriers together that is not spoiled. And she's not doing things like there was something in the episode that it made me think she's not wanting this for power. Like she's trying to do something for good, I feel.
Interesting. Yeah, it'd be. I mean, the motivations behind Mol and Locke is, I think, what is so intriguing about these characters. How do they know about the progenitors? What are they trying to do with it? I mean, we did get a bit of a hint though, because if we flash forward, when they were in the future timeline, they mentioned that they gave the technology to the Breen. So, I mean, are they just profit driven? That threw me off a tiny little bit. A tiny little bit. All right. So look, we only got a little bit of what's going on with Mol and Locke.
Davey, I did have a point.
Oh, sorry. Go on, Jim.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't think their romance is mutually is a mutual two-way thing. I think he's very much in love with her, because if you guys might remember from the previous I think it's the first or maybe second episode when they were dealing with Frank or whatever that android's name was, when he shot Mol. Oh boy, did he go ballistic on him. I think Locke is very much in love with her. I'm not convinced she's in love with him at all. I think she's using him.
Yeah. I think
I agree too, Jim. Sorry.
No. There is. I'm getting the sense of some kind of manipulation, right? There is something toxic kind of going on there, but at the same time,
which is. Yeah, that's why I think there is, like, I agree with you, there is a toxicity there, just not a mutual toxicity, just more of a, she's using him I'm losing words here, to justify the end, sort of kind of a thing.
So,
or she could be, sorry.
No, you're.
No, or she could be just completely overshadowed by what she's doing, and that she still loves him, but it's just like overshadowing, like what she's doing, She could, I mean, like, she's so driven, right? She's so driven to get this done. Maybe she does, but she's so blindsided by that to like really focus on the relationship. It could be that too. But I mean, like, I just don't like her character, so I don't have a positive view on her. That's just my personal opinion.
Fair enough.
I mean, if I like her, it'd be a different story.
You never know. You could learn to love her. I feel like we're going to be forced to kind of like her in some way or another by the end. We're going to put Mol and Locke to the side for a moment, just as much as the writers did for the whole episode, and touch on now. Let's move into the main plot, right? So we're on Discovery. Rayner's being a bit of a dick and foreshadowing that he's going to be maybe not so much of a dick by the end of the episode. And then the worst thing that could possibly happen for me, because I hate the instant transporters so much. They're like, a word, boom, into the ready room. Just walk through the door. It's right there.
Why do they still have the damn doors if they use the transporters?
I threw that.
Yes.
That was my first comment when I'm watching. I threw it in Discord. I'm like, they really can't walk. Oh my gosh.
It gives me the shits like you would not believe. And
then why do they walk and take the turbo lift to engineering?
During the episode, I thought, like, they said at one point, like, that wasn't working because they'd gone back in time before
when they're in day-to-day life. Why are they taking the turbo lift to engineering?
They ran out of the budget. The budget ran out.
It's because of the time bug.
Yeah,
it was interfering with their transporters.
Exactly, a trip bug.
Why are the turbo lifts even still there? I mean, apparently the internal workings of Discovery are quite cavernous. So why do they even need turbo lifts at all anymore?
I think this goes back to Amy's earlier question about the science of this whole episode too. So I'm just like,
indeed.
Yeah.
So, Peter, what did you think of the setup here? Right. So, because we we kind of launched pretty quickly into the time jumps. How did this kind of feel to you as a bit of a cold opening? Did you like the foreshadowing of what was going to happen with Rayna? Like, what were your thoughts on that?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think in general, I was, kind of didn't try to dive too deeply into it, so I was just sort of taking it in, and I think from that perspective, I enjoyed that, the setting up. I think because the jumps happened so quickly, as like in the beginning, and it also kind of went all over the place. I think it took a little bit to sort of understand what was going on, because it's more of, you have a scene, but just a few seconds, or it seems like a few seconds later, it's sort of another time. So I think that part of it took a little, at least for me, it took a little bit getting used to. And then once that kind of slowed down, I think they explained it somewhere about the interval between each jumps increases. So I think once it got into a better pace or slower pace, I think I kind of enjoyed that part, the latter part of it, more, because it had a little bit more time for the for the story and for the plot to have a chance to breathe. But I think in the beginning, the setup was a little bit jarring, but maybe that's what the director or the writers wanted to get, that, like you mentioned before, wanted to get that feeling of unpredictability that the crew was going, or that Michael and Rayner was going through, for the audience to go through.
So we have someone waiting in the wings who may have a unique perspective to offer on this as well. Joining the show late. Hello there, Matt Harker. Where are you beaming in from today?
I am beaming in from the lovely Sheridan, downtown Philadelphia at DNICon.
Oh, there you go. Not a sponsored post. So you've joined us. We're talking about the setup. Rayna and Michael have jumped into, they've beamed into the ready room, and then all of a sudden, boom, time starts moving around. How did you kind of find that opening, Matt, with, Rayna being a bit of a dick, and how that all played out?
Honestly, in the beginning, it made me a bit nervous when the time jumping started happening so rapidly. I didn't really know how it was going to go. And for me, the episode didn't really seem to start to gel until until that moment with Reese.
Yeah, no, that's true.
Yeah, so it was a slow burn for me, but then I got into it.
And Haven, I mean, you've said that you were quite a fan. You really enjoyed this episode. Was it the time jumping and the messing around with time travel that you enjoyed, or do you enjoy these kind of time travel episodes in general?
I love time travel episodes 100%, but what really made me fall in love with the episode immediately was the fact of seeing my crew, the 23rd Century Discovery, because yes, as anybody who is part of Stranger Pod knows, that I fell in love with Discovery and came out as non-binary because of Adira and Gray. But the 23rd Century crew is my crew. So the first and second seasons were my crew. Especially, Captain Pike was he's perfect as well. So.
And JJ, did you? I don't know. I personally appreciated the jump back, because I love the old uniforms and all that kind of stuff. I did like when we started to see little bits and pieces of Discovery's time. How did you find going back to that? And did you feel that it was executed well?
Yes, I do feel like it was executed well. I liked the little fight scene where Burnham ran into herself. I don't know. I thought that was done really, really well. I was thrown off a little bit where Burnham wasn't accepting of her pretty much until the very, very end. But yeah, I loved how they touched at all these different points, and I loved that scene and how they were hand in hand and it was really good. I really like that scene actually.
Yeah, I'm gonna I'm gonna talk about digital de-aged Michael later because I have some strong opinions on why did she look like it was 3 o'clock in the morning and she'd had too much MDMA. But that's another Amy, at what point did it start to become jarring for you though? Because it spun off pretty quickly. Was it like from the word go that you started to just be instantly confused and not enjoying the ride?
Yeah, it was. But I wanted to point out something that I really did love that I'll probably be doing an Amy's Math moment. So hopefully you'll be a Patreon member for that. But the way that they were describing the length of times when they were in each period, because I was trying to figure out that too. And I was like, there's no pattern. And but then when they did that diagram, again, there's many, many words already going through my mind and how much they've elevated, like the math that they've used literally jumped 900 years, like in comparison to Math World. Anyways, I will save that for later, but I really did enjoy that. And that answered the questions of how long they're in each place. But I still was having issues with why isn't more people remembering, as I talked about earlier, and like why why they're going back and forth. I didn't so those questions just kept going through my head.
So Jim, Rayna came pretty quickly to the conclusion that it was a Krenim time bug. So call back to the Year of Hell, which I mean, I personally liked the call back to the Krenim. But how did you... Discovery has this way of like, oh, that must be the solution. These very specific circumstances are happening, and it must be this very, very niche root cause. Did you buy into it when Rayna's like...
Well, given the history they've established about the Time War, I kind of did buy into it. Okay. Especially also given the fact the Krenim, at least what was established on Voyager, they have a history of messing with time.
True, yeah. Sorry, keep going.
So that was very believable to me.
Yeah, it was. I mean, you can kind of suspend disbelief there a little bit, right? So I get the feeling that, I don't know, Haven, do you get the feeling that maybe the Krenim actually played a big role in the Temporal Cold War? Because there's a bit
That's
of a...
exactly right. That's why I raised my hand.
Yeah.
Because I was thinking about it as it was like over the last 48 hours or so. I've actually been thinking about it and doing my own research, like I do all the time when I'm sitting around doing nothing. And I'm pretty sure that there was an Enterprise book that directly brought up the Krenim and how they were part of the reason why the war started. So with that being said, I'm pretty sure that they're using the a memory beta, which is the book's canon, to actually look and see what they can bring into Alpha.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of makes sense because, I mean, I was thinking back to, like, the Year of Hell. Like, it ends and they've kind of reset the timeline, but then it goes, I think Anorax, shows him meeting his wife, and then you see that he's working on the weapon. He's still, like, even though they've reset the timeline, the Krenim, there's still this interest in temporal physics in a weaponized kind of way. So that interest was always...
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if they started the Time War, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah. What if, Peter, they jumped around between, a couple of different time frames. Did you have a favorite one that they visited at all? Because there was, especially in terms of when they went to, like, back to the 23rd century and all that, what was your favorite time jump?
Probably my favorite might be the Calypso, the connection with the in which they jump forward, because I think we may have mentioned in a previous Let's Fly, might have been the first one, in which I always, Calypso was my favorite short track, and I always wanted Discovery to at least connect back to that.
Mhm.
And I think this I don't know if we're going to get any more connection over the next 6 more episodes, so this may be it, but I was glad that they did that. So we got a little bit more. I still have to watch it again, I think, to try to understand this. Or it may be a dream by Zora. Zora may be dreaming, and it may be that the short track up Calypso might be the dream. I think that's how interpreting it. But I was happy. I was a little when I first realized, they were, that I was connecting it to Calypso. I was really happy that they acknowledged that and tried to explain it a little bit. But I think that's probably my favorite. Probably my second favorite is also going back to season 1, because it's been a while, and sort of almost like compare the differences between, it's been 5 years or 5 seasons, maybe a little bit longer, chronologically, and sort of comparing the characters and the changes. So I think I enjoyed that one as well.
Jim, you got some thoughts on this?
Yeah. No, I just want to ask, did anyone else here besides me, were you dying to see like them walk in on Zora and Kraft, like just doing their dance together?
When I heard the music, Matt,
I actually had a thought in terms of what Jim just said about dying. Like, what if this happened? What if 32nd century Michael had walked in on 23rd century Michael kissing Ash Tyler?
Oh,
yeah,
that would have been some maybe after the book moment.
And I mean, I loved that we got a cameo from Arium. That was fabulous. But I don't know, JJ, were you kind of like me and hoping that maybe we might see Lorca or someone else?
Yes. Yeah, I was really hoping to actually see Lorca. When they said his name, I was like, oh my gosh, this would be so cool. But then he was off the ship. I was like, oh, that's a bummer.
He's just on an away mission. We're in the middle of space, and we're going to warp off.
I'd love to know what that away mission was that took the top two, the top 3 people on the ship away from the ship.
He was at Hogwarts.
Yeah. And they had to always go to, was it Deck 13? Deck 13. That was the place where they couldn't be found. And the lights were always flashing there. And I don't know if you got this in your parts of the world too, but I got like a flashing light warning at the start of the episode, I think, about.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we got that. Yeah.
Yep.
So wasn't that corridor the same corridor where Stamets met Burnham in Magic to Make the Sanest Man Go Mad? I swear it was.
I think it might have been. There's a particular, and it's gone from my mind, but the first time in this episode where they go there, they're in the turbo lift, Burnham specifically mentions why that's where they want to go, because they're hidden from the ship's sensors or in some way or another, because the deck's all effed up. But I don't know. But anyone have any particular thoughts on this, or anyone know more as to why they chose that deck?
It's an unlucky number.
It is an unlucky number. But Amy,
I
I will watch an episode after this, and I'll let you know. I'll put it in the Discord. I'll let you know.
Okay.
There we go. All right. So Stamets comes into it. All right. So we get a little bit of, and I don't know. It was very almost comical in a way, because it's in that it's the end of season 2. He's just been impaled. He's lying on the hospital bed. And he's like, "Oh my god, I forgot how much this hurts." Mahendran, how did you find, Stamets' role in this whole kind of adventure? Like he had a little bit of a comic relief role kind of in this episode. Did you find that as well?
I think this episode really made me like Stamets a lot more. I think at the beginning of Disco, I just did not like him. He was so obnoxious. And then I'm like, oh, okay, like he's actually likable and more interesting. I think it's just, and also just like Anthony Rapp is such a good actor. I think it also just showed how much of a good actor he is too. it's amazing. But yeah, I think it's I just yeah, and then this shows like how much he's grown in the whole. I think that's another great thing about this episode. You see like the growth of all the different characters, even like the bridge crew ones. It's just like, wow, like people have really grown, and that's I think the biggest strength of Discovery. Whereas in some of the other series, there isn't as much character growth. Whereas this one, it's like you see, I don't know, it just kind of really impresses me a lot. That's what I like about this episode a lot.
And the character Stamets calls out the fact that he was not the nicest guy back in that time. And how
pre-tardigrade.
But how hilarious was, quick, there's been a leak, get out or mushrooms are going to grow in your lungs.
Mushroom spore breach, everybody out.
And then he's
This
like,
shows we all just need to do some mushrooms and it'll be all nicer. So like if somebody is a jerk, just getting to do a lot of mushrooms.
well, and then he was like, I'm sad that they believed me.
Yeah,
He was like, I need to get a new engineering crew.
Yes,
Exactly.
that's the funny part.
The funny part was when all three of them yelled at that one crewman who came back in.
Exactly. They're like, woo! He's like, ah.
And there's quite a bit of, there's always been a little bit of humor in Discovery. This season, I don't know, JJ, I don't know if you're finding this as well. Like, I'm finding the balance of humor quite good this season because it's a little self-referential in a way. A lot of the humor has been like, all right, this is our 5th season. We can just assume the audience is comfortable and just make jokes about everything that's happened before.
Yeah, I agree. I also I tend to tie a lot of the humor to Tilly. And so in my mind, because she's back this season, it just the magic is there, but also Reno and all her lines are funny too. So yeah.
Yeah, Reno had like a fun little moment where she appeared to Michael, and she's just sort of like, "Oh, take care of yourself out there, kid." It was a nice.
No, that was Rayner.
No, it's right. It was Rayner, but she didn't question the different uniform. By the way, at that point, that was a weird.
Well, Michael bailed out of there, so
Yes, you're
Reno
right.
wouldn't see her.
You're right.
But
Go, Peter.
but there was when you mentioned about Reno, there was that funny moment in which Reno was talking to Stamets, and Reno kind of gave the impression she was also knowing what was going on, and Stamets thought she did, but then Reno said, "No, just joking." So she didn't really know what was going on. So that was kind of a funny scene with her. So yeah.
And
that
Tilly was
confused me
Tilly
too.
was just as funny. Like when Michael was telling her, "Don't worry, I won't ever stab you in the back when you're asleep," and Tilly was like, "Thank you."
Haven, how did you find because they did use a lot of digital de-aging, my very crude jokes about it aside. Yeah, how did you find the way they kind of represented the crew? Because they a lot of them do look quite different now. So do you think that was done well?
There was a few things that the picture that you showed a couple of minutes ago of Michael versus Michael clearly showed. Like, I honestly thought that was his stunt double. Like, I did not think, that one right there.
Mm-hmm.
I did not think that was possibly even Michael whatsoever. And that was, that's absolutely what I thought it was. It was not, I don't think that it was Sonequa Martin Green. Like, and but that's the only one that threw me out of a loop. But at the same time, I accepted it. Like, and all the others I thought did very well. The Stamets one was fantastic. Like, if you look at any of my posts on any social media, I refer to both Stamets and Kobo as my space dads. And like, I honestly looked at them and was like, was that digital de-aging or was that now? Like, it made me question it because it was so good.
Yeah, it was done well. I personally noticed Michael's the digital effects that they'd used to make Sonequa Martin Green look like she did in 2016-17 when that episode was made. If you go back and watch it, you'll see every now and then it looks like she's grinding her teeth, and it really put me off. And
I thought Tilly's de-aging was the best because she's the one who is, I think, looks so much different from season 1 to season 5. and she looked so great as the season 1 version in this episode.
Yeah, they definitely nailed Tilly in terms of how she looked with it just everything from like the hair to the whole thing. It was done really, really well. This scene that we've got the picture up now of the big fight between the two Michaels. Peter, could you notice the stunt double at any point? Was this a throwback to Conspiracy, a stunt double battle?
Actually, I did. It's not so much it was almost like the way the angle of the shots, because there were some angles in which you saw, season 5 Tilly, and then sort of from the side, it looked a little bit like it was like a stand-in or a stunt double. But actually, to be honest, when you mentioned de-aging, I actually didn't pick up on it in general. I thought they did a decent job. Probably the only one I noticed was with Detmer. With Detmer, it kind of looked a little bit off. But other than that, I actually didn't pick it up. So I think they kind of did good, or else I was kind of I didn't notice that. But I think that the fight scene was done pretty well. Maybe a little bit drawn out, but that's just the way it goes. But I think it was good. I remember being another little surprise when season 1 Michael walked into the turbo lift and saw season 5, and I said, wonder what's going to happen, and then they started the fight sequence. But I think it was well done, and they kind of made it kind of an exciting scene.
Yeah.
I'd like to comment on that scene.
Yeah, go on.
I actually, as strange as it is to connection, I actually thought of the 1998 movie The Parent Trap when they walked in, when Michael walked into it. I don't know why I made that connection, but that's the very first thing I thought of.
Interesting. Do you think, Matt Harker, there was a bit of an opportunity to actually just remind the audience of how much Michael has grown? Because this is right after she came on Discovery. They're still calling her Specialist Burnham, and she is angsty. Like, she is angry as the younger Burnham. Do you think that was kind of intentional to show that growth?
Oh, 100%. In fact, that was... in addition to the Raynor softening up and choosing to connect, the Michael journey, where through the flashback and flash forward mechanism, it reminded me of that journey. Not always in terms of what Michael herself said, but just the things that they went through, the crew and Michael specifically. I thought that this episode was so, and I can understand. I mean, we may have seen before that Michelle Paradise, when she was asked, had she known at the time, would she have written things any differently? And I believe her answer was no. This episode and the tracing through Michael's journey and the crew's journey, I could see where, at least in the context of this episode, that makes total sense. Yeah. This was a perfect episode for a final season that they didn't know was going to be the final season.
That's actually a really, really, really good call out. The next thought I want to go to, and I'll check in with you in a sec, Jim, but Amy, I just want to ask you, are you like me, and now every time a door opens, I'm hoping it's David Ajala coming home from the gym?
Oh my gosh.
Is it just me?
Was that not beautiful? Oh. Yeah.
I just wanted to take a moment just to remind us all that happened, okay?
Yes. Good.
Sorry, Jim, you had something to say on Matt's previous point.
I have two things to say now that you brought up the David Ajala. Well, first off, in the David Ajala scene, did it seem to anyone else that when Burnham walked into that captain's quarters, Grudge was giving her the suspicious stink eye, like she knew he happened to be
Grudge knew.
Yeah. Yeah, but then to my other point, which is kind of might be off topic a little bit. In the pacing of the episode, the whole Burnham on Burnham thing was brilliantly counterbalanced by the whole Linus scene in the turbo.
Yes, that was really cute.
Yeah.
Actually, I'd forgotten about that.
No, okay.
Here we go.
Since we're here, I know. So then I was like, okay, so there's Linus. Why is he not recognizing that this is not Specialist Burnham, number one? And the whole Burnham fighting Burnham, you guys did solve one problem because I was looking at, I'm like, Burnham would accept seeing herself, but listening to you, it is like right off of, yeah. So you're right. She was angry. So I'll let that pass. But then another thing that was distracting, I kept seeing the braids fly through and I'm like, well, she's going to get hit with the braids. I mean, that'll swing her across the corridor. So I'm sorry. I'm telling you, I need a rewatch. It's
She
me.
whips
It's
her
me,
hair
not
back.
you.
I like the braids. I think she looks so really hot with the braids. I didn't like her
I
old.
do too, but in the fighting and the action, it distracted me. It pulled me out of it.
Fair enough.
Really? Okay. I guess I got confused by the short hair. I'm like, I don't like the short hair at all.
I never liked the short hair. The only thing worse was the Vulcan wig.
I'm like, I thought the Vulcan wig was cute. Reminded me of the Beatles, but you know.
Oh dear. They do love to play around with the hairstyles of our female leads on Star Trek.
Oh, don't they? Don't they? Never happens with the men.
Was there not a Trexpert's question about how many different hairstyles there was?
We did have a Trexperts question once for we had to name the episode in which Janeway debuted all her
Janeway.
hairstyles.
God.
And yes, the host of the Captain's Couch knew them all. But
Yes.
Wow, that's impressive.
Yeah. So Amy, you made a good point. Like we have kind of that's why I kind of asked that question. Like, did we see the difference in Burnham? Because you got to remember, at that moment she'd just come out of prison, and you remember when the first episode when she arrives on Discovery, she beats the snot out of someone in the mess hall as well. Like she was an angry human being at that point. Interesting point that happened. If I can go back to the scene with Book without sliding off my chair. So we did get one thing out of that, and that was that she is still in love with Book. So, Peter, what did you think of that? Does that lead into, they will probably get back together kind of territory, or is it just meant to be a very bittersweet kind of moment?
I mean, I don't know. I was actually kind of leaning towards the second one. I wasn't sure if they would be getting back together, by the end of the story. Oh, by the end of the season. So it may be more of a, they had the romance, but they're more friends now, and then they'll always be, special to each other. I don't know if they'll, continue, go back to the way it was in was it season 3 or when there was more of a stronger relationship. So or that scene may also to sort of give Michael a little bit of I don't know if lost opportunity or things that could have been, if something was different, or if what happened in season 4 didn't happen, and things like that. So it could be like a reminder to Michael that it could be something could have been different. But I think they both they're at this stage of 5 in their regular time. I think they're kind of both comfortable with where they are. And if it happens, it happens. But I don't know if they're expecting anything. It might just be good friends.
JJ, are you hoping that they'll get back together, or like me, do you just want her to back off so I can have Book all to myself?
Alrighty then.
The fiance must be out tonight, huh?
Exactly.
Yeah, Anthony, you
It's
don't
all
watch
right.
this episode.
Or maybe you're Polly. We don't. There's no judgment here.
Exactly.
Exactly. On BQN.
Yum yum.
Sorry, JJ.
It is yummy in real life. That's for
Sorry,
sure.
that's a glass of red wine talking.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
We've descended into
So,
very
I-
horny territory, but JJ.
Yeah.
the question was, would you, do you
He's a
want-
sexy man.
He is a sexy man. But do you want them to get back together? Do you think that's the final destination for them?
So I only thought, or the vibe or impression I got was that it was really Burnham that had an issue with Book, and so I feel like he has feelings for her. And actually, I took that scene as it was a reminder to her of how she truly does feel about Book, and that's the stepping stone that's going to make her forgive and move on, and then the two of them are going to come back together. That's how I'm seeing it.
Interesting. Anyone else got thoughts on? Here we go. Amy Nelson.
Oh
Wait,
my
Amy.
gosh. The scene, I mean, it was 1,000 words in that one look that she gave Book right after he said, I love you. And so in my mind, I was like, okay, the easy thing to do, you are in character, so you can say it and have no meaning and then process it later. I really thought that was the direction it was going to be. She would put on a face, I love you too, and go about it and then process. No, she went through and processed right there really quick. And I felt in my eternal optimism that they were going to work through, that they were going to start talking about it, right? Because Book was like, are we talking about it? And she's like, yeah, we're doing it now. So I'm like, okay, they're working through, they're building. And then she had that look like, I don't love you. And it slayed me. It slayed my heart. I was so sad. And I don't want them to be over. I want them to be together.
Okay, so you're
So you can see Book naked. It's okay.
Yeah. Mahendran, you were next. You had a thought on this?
No, I just, I think I was thinking about the whole time thing and how, maybe she does love him, but not, I don't know. I think she loved him, and then she kind of put her hands on his face, kind of like patting him, like, I love you, and I didn't feel like it was, maybe I remember it wrong, but I just didn't, it's, I just felt like she was playing the part for that time.
You reckon?
Maybe she does love him, but it wasn't like,
I hope
it wasn't
so.
going to work.
I'm gonna have to
I
on
mean,
my
I don't-
rewatch.
yeah.
I'm gonna have to pay attention to that scene again now, because I think it feels like we all got something a little bit different from
Right?
it.
Yeah, I got to watch it again
Yep.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I was
Yep.
distracted for other reasons, but Haven, you
Do we need to
I
splash you with water, Davey?
yeah, sorry.
Not in here.
I actually think that the reason why we actually had the whole scene with Adele and Gray at the beginning was more to set up the fact that maybe Michael and Burnham are going to be back together, because it hurts me. I'm going to cry as I say this, but I don't see Adele and Gray continuing on. And I can see them being apart is part of, and also this with this episode as well, Michael and Book coming back together.
Okay. Look, time will tell. No pun intended. But let's move ahead now to the big sort of finale to destroy the bug. So they've got to go to maximum warp and then break the warp bubble. And I loved the little bits and pieces here about warp physics and time dilation and all that kind of stuff. It's one of the first times in Star Trek they've ever really referred to just the sheer mechanics of traveling around space and everyone existing in the exact same time. On the bridge, though, there was the convincing of Michael to the crew, that because this is this mutineer who's just arrived to them. Now, I have got some strong thoughts about the moment in which she managed to convince everyone that she was telling the truth. But I want to kind of get the room's read on this as well. And Jim, I might start with you. How do you feel about how this scene played out? Did you buy into it?
I kind of bought into it. Like, I did like the scene as an entertaining kind of scene, but realistically, and they did play on that at the end with the crew saying, like, I can't believe our past selves believed you, Captain.
Yes.
Yeah, but like, I didn't completely buy into it. I mean, you got the fact, and thank God they brought Bryce back for this scene. Like, you got the fact Bryce is literally phaser happy and wants to just drag her off to the brig. I did like that part, but that was the realistic part. But the whole part about appealing to each of them, and boom, within like 15 seconds of appealing to each person emotionally, and they're ready to fall head over heel and do whatever this mutinous specialist in their eyes asks them to do.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that wasn't completely realistic. Although I did like the scene where Ariam bought in because she realized, oh crap, she knows I would ultimately sacrifice myself. I did buy into that.
See, that's the moment that took me out of the story completely. It felt, I don't know, and I'm really interested to hear everyone else's opinions on this.
I know it's kind of a flip mishmash timey-wimey thing for me there, but it's how I felt about the scene.
Like, of all the things you could say to someone to get them to, to believe, it's like, oh, you'd sacrifice yourself. She's like, yes, I would. She's telling the truth. Like, Matt Harker, how did you find that?
Well, I agree with you first on the timey-wiminess because, they were so thoughtful to mind the timeline. And then like, oh, Ariam, you're going to die. They completely broke that rule. However, on the flip side, well, not however, I hate to say this, but I feel like that exchange was more character development for Ariam than we got during Ariam's original appearance.
In their defense, they did say she wouldn't remember it anyways.
They did.
Oh,
say
that's
that,
true.
Yeah. They said the last one would reset everything. Yeah.
I was more invested in Ariam now than I ever was first time around.
Okay.
Yeah.
Amy?
I agree with Matt. Oh, sorry.
Amy's got something to say.
I can't. I was going to
Yeah, we
type it
can't
in
hold
the
Amy
chat,
back.
and I'm like, this is just too much. Okay, they realized before that their interactions, like, they didn't remember it. So they should have been like Picard in All Good Things. When Picard went back to the beginning, he was like, oh, screw it. They don't remember. This is what happened on the first day. So that Picard was just doing whatever. They had that opportunity. They already knew that. And so then, yeah, it doesn't matter that they tell Ariam because it's not going to matter. So they could have been telling anyone everything. And so that threw me off. And then
My head hurts.
it felt so with them, like, I know this about you. It felt so much like magic to make the sanest man go mad when Stamets was like, you got to tell me something that you know. That was so pushed on that episode. And now we're doing it the same thing. It just was like, I've seen this before. It felt just so formulaic and so, okay, of course they're going to believe. Like, again, just... I knew
and we
it.
haven't even touched on
that
Rayner
was
doing the same thing in engineering with the other Burnham and with Reese.
Haven, you
I think that's why they were. Sorry.
You go, Haven, you look like you're dying to say. Actually, everyone's dying to say something right now. But we're going to go through this systematically. Haven, what are your thoughts?
First of all, I want to say that Amy literally stole the words right out of my mouth or right out of my head. But then at the same time, I do have a theory, and it's actually a different one than what I posted in Discord. And no, it does not involve funny math. Like, I originally thought that, okay, Michael would remember her thoughts because of the Vulcan Earth bit. That's what I wrote in Discord. But hearing everybody here talk, I've actually thought about something. It's more like cause and effect and all good things. Like, well, if they eventually break out of the cycle, like out of the, I don't know how they described it in the episode, but out of the time bug, with maybe that they will retain some memories, so they didn't want to take that risk. Because even though, like, yeah, at the very end of the episode, they thought, okay, maybe, like, none of them remembered, so it's an all good things thing, just like Amy stole out of my brain. But at the same time, I was thinking, maybe, like, Mike was thinking, thanks to her training at the Vulcan Science Academy, that it is actually, that they will remember. Like, so she didn't want to say anything just in case they do remember.
Possibly. Mahendran, what were you going to jump in with there?
No, I was gonna say, like, this is why, like, there's this ambivalence I really have about this episode. Like, there are 3 really good things that happen with this episode that we've already talked about. The thing with Ariam, the fight with Michael is so cool. I literally like that so much. And then also, like, I did not like seeing Book half naked, but the whole Book scene, you know, it was just, you know, I was like expecting, like, well, who will she encounter? Then I saw the cat, and, you know, it's just. But those, I think, for me, those things weigh out all these other plot holes and this messiness of this episode. I'm like, why didn't Stamets just, like, you know, tell Burnham that thing she told him, like, in the first season? That would have cleared up all this other problems he was having with, like, Burnham from season 1. So there are just a lot of things where I'm just like, oh, it's frustrating, but, like, and I'm not super fond of clip shows. That's another reason why. So I just, like, it's not like, it would hold, like, I think that's why I like last week's episode so much better. There weren't all these kind of, like, issues, you know, and I just felt like this wasn't as written as well. And I think that's why it reminded me kind of like some of the episodes in the last season of Picard. I guess, like, this is not, like, super great, the writing. So that's all.
JJ, I've seen you biting your lips there throughout this whole discourse. From the moment I mentioned how much I hated the revelation with Ariam, what are your thoughts on how all this played out?
So I thought it was weak, honestly. The way they did it, it was kind of like a half effort type thing. The only thing I've been able to take away from this is that a lot of complaints I hear, or even I myself have, is this episode did a lot of character building of the supporting cast. And I think that was the only opportunity perhaps that they had to do that. And that I appreciated, but the way they did it was a little weak and could have been better. Like, nothing was convincing that Michael was talking to them. None of that should have been convincing. So yeah, none of it. Yeah, that's where I think they were just trying to give people their backstory.
Discovery has a way of not really kind of nailing the punchline. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's always the setup is always way more intriguing than the payoff itself.
Yeah.
And that's I think that's all of our fears for this final season in general, and you kind of saw that in this episode. This episode is a bottle episode of sorts. It's actually, I personally had a really good time watching it, despite those few little moments where I was taken out of the story because I just couldn't. But I know these characters, right? And I just don't believe some of the moments that they had, unfortunately. So there was, for all the fun of it and for all the things it did right, there was just those few things which just, oh God, that's going to stick with me. So, you know, let's sort of move on to Easter eggs and any other funny little things we noticed before we talk about predictions for moving ahead. So, you know, this all wrapped up with, you know, the whole idea is that Mull and Locke were basically trying to trap them. All right, so trap them whilst they go and find the progenitor's secrets and technology, and obviously that failed. We did get a big hint again about the Breen. Because when we got the glimpse of the future that would happen if they didn't get out of the time timey, jumpy bits and pieces, we saw that the Breen destroyed Federation headquarters with the Progenitors technology. Is this... I mean, can they just come out and say, hey, the Breen are a big part, are going to play some big role in the end of this? I don't know. Peter, do you think that that's what we're building to with the Breen here? Because they've been mentioned every single episode so far.
Yeah, I mean, it may end up being a little bit like DS9 or towards the tail end of DS9, in which the Breen was kind of not a major player until the end, and then it became a pivotal player. So so during those references to them, I kind of got that type of callback. So they may end up doing that. But I guess given it's only 6 episodes left, it's not a long time to to sort of make that pivot or make that move or bring them in, and also try to conclude everything in a clean way. So so maybe this in the next episode or two they would sort of get a better idea as to what'll happen. But in a way, I wouldn't mind. I mean, I kind of the Breen were, aside from DS9, I don't think they had a lot of airtime in the franchise. So it would be interesting to learn about more of them, learn a little bit more about them in in the 32nd century. So all these little hints that's dropped over the last few weeks, it wouldn't be a surprise that we'll see them in some way.
Agree. Jim, did you notice any other little kind of hints or references throughout? Because there's been lots of little things kind of cleverly peppered in little Easter eggs. So we had the Krenim. I mean, by now we're just going to expect some kind of Breen reference every single episode. Was there anything else that
Krenim was the only one I really noticed.
Yeah. Show of hands, is there any other Easter eggs that we missed this week?
The Devo reference at the dry dock with the no, I'm sorry. Was it the crewman? Was he on the ship, or was he when they were docked in the little hat?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, you're right.
I might have missed that earlier.
Mahendran, did you notice anything?
There was yeah.
Oh yeah, sorry, go.
No, in terms of Easter eggs, you mean? Easter eggs, sorry. No, I had something else about Arium, but I'll talk about it later if you have time. Yeah.
Haven.
So there was one. I think it was actually just a production Easter egg that they used. Is the shot that they used in dry dock was, I'm almost positive, and I noticed it in my second rewatch, was a scene right from Picard. Like in San Francisco. I'm pretty sure that was a San Francisco scene from Picard.
Yeah, has anyone else noticed that whenever you're in San Francisco in Star Trek, you always have the greatest view of the bridge and only the bridge?
Yeah, and that's actually, Jim, that's what my point is. I'm almost positive the scene that it was basically a reverse shot of when you see the solar panels on the bridge. I'm pretty sure it was a reverse shot, and that's what I noticed in my second watch.
I think any TV show or movie that is set in San Francisco will assault you with establishing shots of the bridge from start to finish, just so you know.
Well, that's
how
that's
is you
also
going to know it's San Francisco, though?
Exactly.
Sorry.
Like, where are we? I have no idea. Oh, there we go.
Well, they have the architecture there, so you can figure it out that way too.
That's like if you look at any 90s or even any New York City shot, you will always see, if it's before 9/11, you'll see the World Trade Center, and if it's after 2008, you'll see, what is it called now, the Freedom Tower.
The Freedom Tower. Yeah, you're right.
True.
So you always see that, and then what's the tower that's in London? You will always see that spiral tower whenever you watch Doctor Who. You always see
Big Ben
the
and all
round.
that. Yeah.
Big Ben.
Yeah, so you have to see them. I swear, it's contractually
Or the
obligated.
bridge if you're in Sydney, there, Davey.
The Opera House, right?
Oh, the Scallop Place. The Scallop Place.
Yeah, the Sydney
Opera House.
Yeah.
Opera House. Opera House.
Melbourne doesn't have a defining feature like that, unfortunately.
A kangaroo.
Where's the
and the
petition so
wallaby
we can build something?
and the baby.
Where's it?
Yeah. It's just my house. They're just going to show shots of my house. Like, oh, it must be in Melbourne. It's Davey's house. Mahendran, you had some thoughts you wanted to share on Arium.
Yeah, and I think I don't think I mentioned this, but I think that I know some people felt like that scene wasn't the best, but I almost like started crying when I saw that scene because I just, I just felt like, she kind of just like dies and goes away, and she really got a good send off, and I think that was the best part of it because like, she didn't really like all the crew is like, well, we got to save her, we got to help her, we got to da. And she's like, no, this is what I wanted to do.
Oh yeah, I didn't buy into. I didn't completely buy into the whole thing, but I do agree with you, Mahendran. Like, I love the send. I love the finality of the send off to her in that scene.
Yeah, no, you're right. I think that's what I liked, and it's just, it's it like when she died, I felt like it was kind of really sad, but it's like it's not like it's like I felt sad, but it's like almost like how like Data gives himself away at the end and that the final like when he dies, right? It's all it reminds me of that. It's like she had to do her duty for her crew and she was happy to do it and she would do it again. That's all.
Amazing. Yeah, no, there was I always found that episode where Ariam died really, really sad as well. Even though they suddenly made us care about her only to kill her off, I still found it very effective because I was still like, like so sad when that happened. So we're almost actually we've gone like way over time, but that's fine because there's obviously been a lot to unpack in this episode. So let's do a round of predictions. So where to from here? Because we haven't really advanced the plot in terms of the chase, the mystery, the progenitors. There's just there's their warp trail. It was over there the whole time, guys. Let's go. Amy, what happens next? What are you predicting?
Yeah, so I'm still going back to what I said last week because I didn't get it. I want the connection between Maul and Book. I want to see that better. Now you guys have me all paranoid that she's, ruining Locke's life. Like, so I want to see her be redeemed in your eyes because she's amazing and their love is true. And so now we've got Raynor on board. So yeah, we need to get another piece of the puzzle.
Absolutely. And Amy Nelson, I'm going to be coming back to you next week and asking how you feel after a few rewatches. I'm going to see if your opinion changes at all.
Okay. All right.
Jim, what about you?
I'm going to throw Amy a bone and say I think they go to Beta Z and we see some Troy references.
We're gonna hear. If we're gonna go off that, maybe we'll hear because they've now perfected the AI for Major Barrett. Maybe we will hear
her voice. Yeah,
one last time.
We could indeed. Anything else other than Beta Z, Jim, or you just think they're going to go to Beta Z?
I have no idea. That's why I was just making the joke.
What about you, JJ?
Honestly, not sure. I still wanted some of that treasure hunt type thing like we got in the chase, and kind of like what we got in the first two episodes. So I'd love to see that again. But I am really curious about this technology that they took away from the man they killed to see what that's about. So I'm interested to see what they do with that.
Haven?
Sorry about the dogs there a moment ago. I don't know if you guys heard it, so I apologize for that. But I would love to see. We've had the Krenim this week with the Voyager reference. I would love to see, something more to do with the Deep Space Nine. Like maybe they go to Cardassia or they go to Bazor.
Ooh, Cardassia, that would be cool. That would be cool. Peter, what about you?
I was thinking of the last week's episode or the ending of last week's episode because they mentioned, I think, Zenkethi space, and I'm not sure if we got to that point yet in this episode. So I don't think we did. So I'm thinking next episode, they kind of almost like sort of go back on to kind of what JJ is saying, sort of go back to that main story arc with the chase and go to Zenkethi space and sort of find, and I think they have one piece of that cylinder. I think it's one. I think 1 or 2.
Two.
But they have like 2 or 3 more
Two.
left. So I think
Yeah,
they'll take up
3 more,
another
yeah.
2 or 3 more episodes of the 6 that's remaining. So and then have the grand finale that's going to take a couple of episodes to play out.
I'm hoping
You're
that-
so hopeful.
I know. Because I'm just worried that it's going to be they're going to kind of drag it out, and then all of a sudden, like, oh wait, here's all 3 pieces. They were just under the captain's chair. Like,
Yeah.
oh,
Duh.
Michael, always losing things like
Michael.
that. You.
Were you a fly on
I'm
the
like-
wall in the writer's room?
Yeah, that's what I'm worried about. I agree. I'm worrying it's going in that direction. It's just like, and I think, yeah. I hope it's not going to be like Borg sperm. Please, no Borg sperm.
No, it's actually going to be Jean-Luc's synthetic body.
Yeah. Covered in Borg sperm. Matt, what about you?
I don't know how I follow on to covered in Borg sperm, but it's certainly not yum yum. knowing that the season was written before they knew it was the end, and given that there's 3 pieces left and we didn't get a piece this week, I think it's going to be piece transition, but then usually how it goes is the final episode of the season, the climax is, no pun intended, that'll be the final piece of the device or the clue or whatever. So I'm hoping the pacing evens out, but I don't know. I mean, we shall see. In terms of other concrete predictions or substantial plot predictions, I think you're right. We have to see more of the Breen. And beyond that, we'll definitely get a Saru wedding. That'll happen. I'm sure Michael and Burnham will resolve.
But which way?
Together.
Okay, good job.
Uh,
You can stay.
Well, and somehow,
Fine then, jeez.
and somehow, Tilly will have to land at Academy because they've been screaming that from the rooftops every chance that they get.
That's going to be the final scene. It's like it's just going to be Tilly turned to camera. Well, I'm off to teach at Starfleet Academy, and then the credits for the new series rolls. That's what they spent months reshooting.
Right.
Oh, I did just think of something, Davey. I hope we see some Klingons at some point here.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Sure. Have we? Correct me if I'm wrong, but we have not even seen them at all since season 1.
Not since they came
Season
to the
2,
future.
not-
Well, season 2.
Yeah. Not since they came
We
to
haven't,
the
we haven't,
Since
we
the
haven't,
32nd
we haven't even heard
century,
mention of them in the 32nd century.
Right.
And Mahendran, apart from what you really, really don't want to see, which Amy is now starting a hashtag of in the chat, what are your final
okay.
thoughts and predictions?
Well, I'm
Hashtag
assuming
half-naked book.
Amy is referencing my bitterness towards the Burnham and Book relationship. So yes, that definitely.
Not quite, but okay.
Yeah, I'm just whatever. I don't care at this point. I think I had a really good thing to say that wasn't like really annoying.
Your predictions.
My predictions. Yeah, I think I really want to see the Breen. I think seeing the Breen without a mask on, that would be so cool. I'd like to see like what they actually look like. That would be neat. And then also just, I think people mentioned the Krenim too. That would be cool, like a throwback to see them, but I don't know. But I really hope they put the Breen in because I've talked about them a lot. But I feel like the way things are written in this season, I feel like they just mention stuff and it just kind of like fizzles and something else happens, so I just don't really, but I don't know, like they gave the technology to the Breen, so possibly. And also just, I really want to see the Saru wedding. I really love that. I like that relationship a lot. And, I feel, I don't know. I think also the, relationship. Oh God, with the Trill person and her
Adira and Gray.
Adira and Gray. I'm very bad with names. Yeah, Adira and Gray. I want them to work out, but I know it's not going to happen. I think that was one of my other favorite couples too.
Oh.
I just hope they work it out, but we'll see how it goes.
Well, that was quite the discussion. And we went high and we went really low, but it was so much fun. The biggest panel that we have had to date here on Let's Fly. And don't forget, if you are watching live or watching or listening to the replay, you can join the panel by becoming a network patron over at patreon.com/BQN. You are allowed to be on Let's Fly at all levels. So jump on board because we want you on future episodes to join this amazing cast of people. We could have like 20 people by the season finale, because I imagine by the time that rolls around, everyone's going to have some thoughts. So pray for me when I've got to moderate that.
That might be a 2-part moderation, then, Davey.
It could be. At one point, you're just going to look at me and say, Davey, are you stuck in a time loop? What's going on? All right, so beautiful people on the panel with me today. Let's go around and see where our listeners and viewers can find you online. I'm going to start with the one, the only Amy Nelson.
Well, hello. Yeah, you can find me on Discord because that's my new favorite place. I am also in our Facebook group, the BQN Collective. You can listen to me if you listen to All Good Things and Union Federation. Those are podcasts on the BQN network.
Thanks, Amy. And Haven, I think you've just launched a new show.
I have. You can find me very, very frequently in the BQN Discord and on the BQN Facebook group. Thank you for those who help moderate that. But I actually just started a Section 31 podcast. It's actually called Section 31 Podcast. Well, what I'll be doing is very similar to the Battle of Battles, where I'll be comparing episodes to episodes. But I'm not going to be starting those comparisons until after the end of Discovery, because I actually launched my very first episode, recorded it about 12 hours ago. Well, it was review. It's going to be like less than 5-minute podcast for each review episode. And you can find that at Section 31 Pod on any social network.
Amazing. Thank you, Haven. And JJ, what about you?
You can find me on Facebook. I am part of the BQN on Facebook, and also my website, jenadiah.com.
Amazing. And Jim?
I am in the Facebook group. I am also on the Discord chat. I'm proudly no longer on X, and I am on Blue Sky.
Amazing. And the newest host in the BQN pool of talent, Peter.
Okay, great. Thanks. Well, you could find me at PeterTrek1. I'm on X, on Mastodon, on Blue Sky. So at PeterTrek1, the number 1. And I'm also at the Trek Book Club. And so you can find us at the which is on X, and it's at Trek Book Club. And as Davey said, I'm actually joining the BQN Collective, and I'll be involved in we'll have a Trek Book Club component of that. So there'll be a podcast, and there's also going to be some discussions as well. Mm-hmm. Great. It's great to be here. Thank you.
I'm so sorry, Amy. Apparently, that wasn't public knowledge.
So you get an exclusive. If you are watching live, you get to know first. Davey, can't take you anywhere.
I know. I'm in a mood today. I'm in a mood. All right. Matt Harker, where can people
Didn't you
find
know this was a red directive, Davey?
It's about to be. You can find me on X, Facebook, and Instagram under mhark HARK957. The Federation Facebook group, the Discords for both BQN as well as Strange New Pod, and the comments section on Strange New Pod on Thursday nights.
And finally, Mahendran, where can our listeners and viewers find you online?
Yeah, I'm on the Facebook group. I post on there, and on the Discord, I usually post some stuff on there. And on the Facebook group, it's Mahendran Monkey, and then in the Discord, just Mahendran something. I don't know, some numbers.
Something Mahendran, something. Just you see the name Mahendran. And for me, you can find my two other BQN programs, the Trexperts Quiz and the Bargain Bin Gamer, spelled Gaymer. You can find those all over the socials. Very active in the Discord. Remember, we would love to see you in our Discord. You can find the link in the episode description. There's all kinds of things going on over there now. Remember to, I'll remind again, being a BQN Network patron is a huge value proposition right now, because not only have we got Let's Fly and future Hive Mind broadcasts, but we've also just introduced the BQN table reads. We just did our first BQN table read a few weekends ago. Amy was there, Peter was there. We did the Drumhead. So much fun. We've posted some snippets from it as an audio podcast. It was hilarious. Just wait until you hear me try. Wait till you hear me try to do technobabble and the profanities that come out of my mouth when I can't quite get them. So do if you sign up to be a patron, you can come and join us for those monthly table reads. It's the best, I promise. But that's...
And little snippets of Amy's math moments.
And Amy's
right,
math
JJ?
moments. Absolutely.
Yes.
All right, that's it for this week. Thank you so much to my beautiful panel, Amy, Jim, JJ, Haven, Peter, Matt, and Mahendran. We will be back again at the same time next week for the next episode of Season 5, Mirrors. So until then, live long and prosper, everyone.